Good morning. So, hope you're having a good Sunday so far. We're really quiet this morning. Just two watching this morning. I think everyone's staying in bed. It is a bit windy out there, a bit miserable, and we've been used to the nice, warm, sunny weather. Yeah, I'm going to take you through a nice, gentle stretch class this morning. So, this is great for beginners. It's also great for experienced practitioners that just want to take it nice and easy and just really take it, slow and just really get into the muscles this morning. So let's start by coming to our backs. Oh, now we're going up. Now the watches are going up. Welcome everyone. If you're just joining in, just tuning in, let's come onto our backs. We'll begin. I'll just lock my dog out. So let's just tuck the shoulder blades under the back so the chest is nice and open, shoulders away from the ears. Let's bend the knees, bring the feet together, and then just drop the knees out to the side. So we're coming into reclined Baddha Konasana. If it's a little bit too intense on the adductors, then you can always put some blocks or some cushions underneath those legs just to provide a little bit of support for those legs here. And let's get nice and comfortable. Just bring the hands onto the abdomen. In fact, let's put the right hand on the abdomen this morning, and let's bring the left hand to the chest. If this is uncomfortable for you, then you can just bring both hands to the abdomen, or just have them either side of you, palms facing up. And let's close the eyes. And as always, we'll take a moment to settle in. So just bringing your awareness to your body, your physical body. Notice the weight of your body as it presses into your mat. And just allow your body to be heavy, relaxed. Soften the forehead. Soften behind the eyes. Soften the cheeks, the ears, the jaw. And just create space between your back teeth. Just take a moment to notice how you feel. Without judgment. Take a moment to notice the emotional body. And then we'll bring our awareness to the breath. So without changing how you're breathing now, just noticing the breath in the body. Noticing the hands rising and falling with the breath. Just notice whereabouts the breath is right now in your body. So are you feeling it more in the chest? Is the left hand rising a little bit more than the right hand? Or is the breath more in the abdomen? Is the right hand rising more than the left hand? And how is the quality of the breath? Is it fast? Is it slow? And let's start to deepen the breath. So as you inhale, draw your breath down into your abdomen, allowing the abdomen to expand like a balloon, the right hand rising. And exhale, abdomen falls, right hand falls. Continue to take deep breaths into your abdomen. Try to keep the left hand still right now. So all the work going into the abdomen, the lower part of the lungs. And now switching, so keeping the abdomen still, the right hand still, and breathe into the chest. So left hand rising and falling with the breath. And we'll put the two together now. So as we inhale, draw your breath down into your abdomen, right hand rises, then up into the chest, left hand rises. And as you exhale, left hand falls, followed by the right hand falling. And continue. Inhale down into your abdomen, up into the chest. Exhale, chest. Exhale, abdomen. And just notice the breath like a wave moving up and down the body. If at any point during this, those legs are starting to get a little bit tickly now, you can always just bring those knees together. And we're going to find some supports to put underneath your legs. And maybe starting to activate your Ujjayi breath now. So starting to breathe with sound. So constrict the back of the throat slightly, make a sound like a distant ocean. Or as I like to say, a little bit less romantic, Darth Vader. And as you constrict the breath, you'll notice the breath starts to slow and lengthen. And for the rest of the class, just breathing through the nose now, keeping the mouth closed. Keeping that breath going. We'll bring the hands now to the outside of the thighs and slowly, slowly just helping those legs back together. And let's hug the knees into the chest. And giving yourself a squeeze, maybe a little rock from side to side. Dropping the feet onto the mat. So let's bring feet hips width apart. Make sure those feet are parallel, hands by the hips. Okay, make sure those shoulder blades are tucked underneath the back. And as we inhale, let's just lift the hips up slightly. Exhale, lower the hips back down. Inhale, lifting up. See if you can roll up the spine. So lifting one vertebrae up at a time. And then as we exhale, lowering from the upper back, one vertebrae at a time, all the way down. So really controlling that pelvic tilt. Inhale to lift up. Exhale to lower down. And with every inhale, maybe getting a little bit higher. And as you lift, just check that those knees don't start to move out to the side. Press down through the balls of the 3 feet, through the toes. Keep moving with the breath. Inhale to lift up. Maybe squeezing the glutes at the top, working through those hip flexors, and exhale to lower down. Inhale to lift. You can move a little bit quicker or a little bit more slowly to stay with your breath here. And on your next inhale, we're going to hold at the top. So drive the feet into the mat, the heels down, lift hips high, squeeze the glutes. And let's hold for 3 breaths. And deep breaths into the chest, into the abdomen. 2 more breaths. Keep squeezing glutes. And as we exhale, last breath, lowering down. Let's hug knees into the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Dropping the left foot to the mat. We're going to straighten the right leg to the ceiling. And stretching out those hamstrings. So if you can take the foot with the shoulders relaxed. If you can't get to the foot, interlace fingers behind the calf or the back of the thigh, or you can use a strap if you are really tight in the hamstrings. Use a strap around the instep of the foot. And we'll just stretch out those hamstrings here. Maybe making some rotations with the ankle. Nice and slowly, and just trying to find that full range of motion through the ankle. And then making those rotations the opposite way. And don't pull so hard here. Remember, we're still at the start of the class. So just being gentle with yourself. And now point the toe. And really feel that nice stretch through the top of the foot, the top of the ankle. Flex the ankle, toes back towards the body. Maybe a little bit more encouragement with the hands. We don't want to feel pain, we just want to feel a nice release. If you're going well, maybe you're straightening that left leg. Notice how the stretch changes. If it's too much, just keep that knee bent. And let's just start to rock that leg from side to side. And trying to keep the hips still. So just moving through the hip joint in the right hip. Maybe you're bringing left hand onto the left hip just to provide a little bit of support. And let's open the leg up to the right. We can just work in through the inside of the leg. Keep the foot if you have the foot, or we're just taking the outside of the leg. You can move the strap into your right hand if you're using a strap. Just work in the inside of that right leg. And again, getting into the adductors here. Just be mindful that the hips don't start to tip over to the right, so keep them nice and square to the ceiling. And breathe into your tension. Inhale, draw the leg back to center. Let's bend that left knee. If you straighten the leg, drop the right ankle just above the left knee for our reclined pigeon pose. So option one, if you are really tight in the hips, just stay here. Maybe you're going to apply a little bit of pressure to that right thigh. Keep that right ankle flexed just to provide a little bit of support for the knee, and think about pressing through the ball of the right foot, the base of the big toe. If you're going well here, pick that left foot up, interlace fingers behind the back of the left thigh or in front of the left shin. Just releasing the glutes, releasing that right hip. Option to find stillness or option to rock a little bit side to side here. And don't forget about the breath. Keep that breath nice and deep, nice and controlled. And just check that we're not lifting the bum up off the mat here as well. Think of drawing your tailbone towards the mat. And that'll increase the stretch through the hip. And take whatever variation feels good for you. Let's release the leg, drop the left foot to the mat, cross the right leg over the left leg, take the arms out to a T. We're going to shimmy the bum over to the right side of the mat and drop the knees over to the left, just coming into a spinal twist. And drop the head over to the right. If it's too intense with that right leg crossed over the left, then just bring the knees back together. This is all good. As you exhale, just see if you can relax a little bit more. And draw a head back to center. If you've got that leg hooked over, unhook the leg. Bring right knee back to center, followed by the left. Shimmy the bum back into the center of your mat. Give yourself a squeeze. And drop the right foot onto the mat, send the left leg towards the ceiling. So doing exactly the same now on the left side. So again, take the foot if you can, or interlace fingers behind the back of the thigh or the calf. And remember, not too much pressure. Just take it nice and steady. So you're just finding that tension, and you're just going to hold the leg where you feel that tension. Remember, we don't want there to be pain. And let's take some rotations with that left ankle. If there's any crunching or popping in the ankle, it's all good. As long as there's no pain associated with pops and clicks in the body, it's all fine. It's just air escaping from the joints. Now let's make the rotation the opposite way. And point the toe, stretch the top of the ankle into the foot. And breathe into that tension. And flex your ankle toes back towards the body. As you do this, let's apply a little bit more pressure with those hands, not too much. And just check that we're drawing that left hip down into the mat. And then let's start to move through that hip. So again, you can bring the right hand onto the right hip now, just to support you, keeping the hip still. So all the work is just coming from that leg, just moving across the hip joints. Okay, just notice how the hip feels. Okay, maybe there's clunking, maybe there's clicking. Maybe the left side feels different to the right side. And let's open that leg up. Again, we can have this right leg straight as well here. And just be mindful that the hips don't start to tip. There can be a little bend in the knee. If you're really tight in the legs, in the adductors. And just breathe in. I'm trying to find a little bit of strength through the legs here as well. Inhale, bring the leg back through center. Bring the right foot back onto the mat if you extended that right leg, and drop the left ankle just above the right knee. That recline pigeon. So again, this side, you can stay here if you are really tight in the hips. You can already feel it. Otherwise, lift that right foot up, interlace fingers behind the thigh or in front of the shin. Again, just check that that left ankle is flexed. So again, press through the base of that left big toe through the ball of the foot. Support that left knee. I say it all the time, but I can't say it enough. Wherever you're using a leg as a lever, have that left ankle flexed just to start engaging the lower leg muscles and support the knee. And again, you can rock from side to side here if that feels good. Or find stillness, whatever you think your body needs. And again, just check we're not lifting up the tailbone, the lower back. Keep drawing it towards your mat. And release the leg, drop the foot. Let's cross the left leg completely over the right. Shimmy the bum over to the left side of the mat. Take the arms out to a T. And slowly, slowly, with control, lower the legs over to the right. And drop the head over to the left. Just releasing the back. Deep breathing. Use the breath to open the body. So the inhale creates space and length in the spine. And the exhale relaxes us a little bit deeper, or pushes us a little bit further into the posture. And draw your head back to center and hook the left leg from the right. Draw the left knee back to center, followed by the right. Shimmy the bum back into the center of your mat. Give yourself a squeeze. Let's bring the hands behind the thighs and we'll start to rock forwards and backwards. Massaging through the spine. Maybe make it onto your sit bones, have a little hover, and then rock back down. And we'll rock up on our next rock up to seated, and we'll come to a simple cross-legged position. As always, you can sit on a towel, a block, a bolster cushion if you are particularly tight in the hips. And we're going to continue to warm up the spine. Let's interlace fingers. Inhale, reach the arms high. Find extension through your spine. Send the hips forward, open the chest, look up. And as we exhale, hands come behind the head, flexion in the spine. Draw chin to the chest, allow the hips to drop back. Inhale, extend through the spine again, looking up. And exhale, send the hands forward this time as we flex through the spine, press through the shoulders, chin to the chest. Inhale, reach in. Again, use the breath, find that extension. And exhale, flexion through the spine, hands forward. Inhale, reach in once more, coming into side flexion. Keep the length in the spine, drop the right hand to the mat and reach over. Just make sure that that left sit bone stays connected to your mat. Maybe the elbow drops to the mat, maybe it doesn't. I'll stay here a couple breaths. Just look down towards your mat. And inhale, gaze towards the extended hand. See if you can reach a little bit further. And exhale, looking down, coming back to center. Interlace fingers, inhale, reach. Slight flexion to the opposite side now, left hand down. Reach that right arm overhead again. We're just looking for that nice stretch through the side body, through the lower back again. Elbow drops if it feels good in the body. And just try to keep the chest open to the top of the mat. Try not to allow it to sink towards the mat here. If that happens, come a little bit higher. This is all good. And let's look down towards that hand or the arm. And then inhale, gaze towards your extended hand. Exhale, looking down, coming back to center. Interlace fingers, inhale, reach. Exhale, twist and fold towards that right knee. So forehead comes down. Nice deep breaths into the back. And inhale, spiral tall, left hand on the knee, right hand behind the back. Sit tall, inhale, and exhale, twist in and gaze in over the right shoulder. We'll stay here a couple breaths. Breathe between the shoulder blades. And inhale to come back to center, interlace fingers. Inhale, reach. Exhale, twist and fold over the left knee now. Allow the pelvis to shoot back, draw the navel in. Again, breathe into your back, into the mid-back. Inhale, spiral tall, right hand on the knee, left hand behind the back. Inhale to find length. And exhale, twist. And gazing over the left shoulder. Continue to move with your breath. Inhale to find a little bit more length. Exhale to twist a bit deeper. The last breath here. Inhale to find length. Exhale to twist. And inhale, coming back to the front. Interlace fingers. Inhale, reach. And exhale, release. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Draw the shoulder blades together, send the hands away from the back, and drop the head back, looking up. Just feeling a nice stretch through the front of the shoulders, into the neck. And just bringing the head back to center. We'll bring the fist to the right side of the body. Let's draw that right arm, right elbow back, and we'll drop the head over to the right. So the head is the same side as the fist. And just feeling a nice release through the left shoulder, through the left side of the neck, maybe into the upper arm. Inhale, draw head back to center. Inhale, find an opening through the chest, send off the fist back, and exhale, bringing the fist now to the left side of the body. Draw the left arm back, the left elbow back, and drop the head over to the left. And breathe. Send the breath to wherever you feel the tension. So really imagine that the lungs extend there into the neck, into the shoulder. And inhale, bring the head back to center, release the fist. Inhale, open the chest, and exhale, release. Let's roll the shoulders back. Roll the shoulders forward. And take the arms out to a T. So reach in through the fingertips. Try to find opening through the chest. Try to find length through your spine. Again, if you feel that the pelvis is tipping under here, sit on something. So sit on a block or a cushion just to lift the hips up a little bit. Nice deep breaths. Widen across the collarbones. And really imagine you're trying to reach out through those fingertips. But then imagine you're trying to press something down. And then we'll draw the shoulders away from the ears. Pull the shoulder blades down the back. We're just bringing energy up into the upper body, into the shoulders. into the chest. And let's start to make some rotations, little rotations forward. So moving the arms forward in a circular motion. Nothing too crazy. And just feeling those shoulders start to warm up, feeling the arms warming. And let's rotate the other way. Just little movements, keep the breath going. Make sure you're not holding your breath. And reaching out again. Let's fold the hands down. So fingers pointing towards the mat and pressing through the wrists. So try to keep the chest nice and open. Don't allow the chest to collapse here. Maybe you're feeling the fatigue start to come into the shoulders. Just allow yourself to be with that fatigue. Keep the breath going. Focus on the breath. Mind control. And then let's take the hands the opposite way. So pressing through the heels of the hands, so the fingers are pointing towards the ceiling, the palms are facing away from us. Soften the face, just check there's no tension that's cracked into the jaw. Try to stay nice and loose in the neck. And keep the hold if you can. If you need to rest, and release. Let's take the arms up. Bend the right elbow. Take hold of the right elbow and draw your elbow towards your center line. Let's keep the lower arm just parallel with your mat. Again, just continuing to release the shoulders. And the shoulders should be nice and warm. I always say it's a bad habit to stretch before the body is warm, really. And if you are stretching before the body is warm, take it nice and easy. Don't go to your full range. You want the muscles to be warm before you stretch them. It's really important. And let's switch. Bend the left elbow, take hold of the left elbow with the right arm. Again, just drawing the elbow towards your center line. And just noticing if one side is different to the other. Maybe you have a niggle in one shoulder like I do. Keep the navel to the spine. If you're feeling that the lower back is starting to ache here, it's usually from weak abdominals. So you need to work on your abdominal strength. We should be able to sit comfortably on our bums with no support for quite a good amount of time, really. So resist sitting on chairs, using a backrest. Try to use your supportive muscles in the back. Good, let's release. Inhale, reach in, lift the gaze, and exhale, bring the hands forward. Let's make our way to a tabletop position. So we'll continue to work through the spine a little bit here with some cat-cow. So just check the knees are underneath the hips. And the knees are hips width apart as well here. And the shoulders are directly over the wrists. So you want the fingers spread, palms pressing into the mat, just making sure you can't get any fingers underneath your hands. There should be no gaps at all. Wrap the fingertips down, wrap the triceps under. So imagine you're trying to pull the triceps towards each other, finding strength there. Draw the navel in towards the spine, squeeze the pelvic floor. And as we inhale, Let's lift the sit bones, drop the navel, send the heart forward, looking up. And as we exhale, start to round the spine. Tuck the tailbone under, press through the back, press through the shoulders. Stay strong through your arms. Inhale, coming into your cow, drop the navel. Look up, just check those elbows, don't start to bend here. And exhale, round it. Let's do 3 more rounds. Inhale. Move to your breath. Move a little bit more quickly if you need to. Exhale. Coming into your cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And coming back to a neutral spine. So we're going to just check on that core. We want that core switched on. And we should be really strong here. And we're going to send that right foot back. So coming onto the board of the right foot and pressing back through that right heel. And just continuing to stretch through that right leg. If you're going well here, keeping the right hip down, so just checking that we're not lifting that right hip up. We're just going to lift that right leg. So it becomes parallel with your mat. Again, just check that those toes are pointing down. If the toes start to open up to the side, that means the hip is opening, the hip is lifting. So keep drawing that right hip down and see if you can press back through that right heel. Just finding strength through the backside of the body. Don't forget about the core. Just check that you don't start to dip into the lower back here. Staying here for your option 1. If you're going super well, option 2, find your balancing table. Reach the left arm forward and just gaze in the center of your mat here, just inside that right hand, just to keep the neck nice and long. Think of finding a line of energy from the tip of the left fingers all the way through to that right heel. We'll stay here a few more breaths if you can. Stay strong through that right arm. Find that stability. 1 more breath. And exhale, left hand, right knee coming back to the mat. Let's bring the big toes to touch. Let's send the knees wide. We'll sit back on the heels and we'll come into child's pose. So bringing the forehead to the mat. If you're really tight in the quadriceps and the bum doesn't come all the way down to the heels, it's all good. Deep breathing. If you want a little bit more in the shoulders, keep the triceps wrapped under. Keep drawing the shoulder blades down the back and come onto the fingertips. And this is a pose you can always drop into at any time during any yoga class if you just want to rest. And lifting the gaze, we'll make our way back to that tabletop position, knees underneath the hips. And the fingers spread. And let's extend that left leg back now. So again, just pressing back through that left heel. And find strength through that left leg as well. We want the quad engaged. We want the calf engaged. We're building heat in the body here at the same time as stretching. And if you're going well, keep that left hip drop down, but pick the left foot up and press back through that left heel. Again, keep the core on, make sure you're not dipping into the lower back. Feel the work in the abdomen. And if you're going super duper well, straighten in that right arm, finding your balancing table. Stay nice and long through the spine, long through the neck. We'll stay here a few more breaths if you can. Just check that left elbow doesn't start to collapse. Stay strong. One more breath. And bring in right hand, left knee onto the mat. Let's walk the feet back, so at the back of the mat. So if you are really tight in the shoulders, option to come back into that child's pose. So sink in the hips back. Otherwise, we're going to come into our puppy pose. So the knees underneath the hips. Keeping those hips over the knees, just start to walk the hands forward. And then just bringing the forehead towards the mat. So let's make it a little bit active in the shoulders here to begin. So wrap the triceps under. Feel the release through the shoulders first. Think of drawing the armpits towards each other. If you're going well, you can start to dip into the lower back now, bringing the chest towards the mat. And breathe. Make sure you're breathing here. Keep drawing the navel to the spine. Only going as deep as feels comfortable in your body. Staying here a few more breaths. And slowly, slowly walking those hands back towards you. Let's bring the right foot forward. Taking our way into a low lunge. We're going to do lazy low lunge. So right knee over the ankle, left knee back as far as feels comfortable with you. Keep the chest open, just get settled in a little bit here. Spread the toes, press down through the board of the right foot. And let's make our way up, bringing the hands onto that right knee. And breathe into that left hip. And soften the face if the jaw is tensed up a little bit here. And let's get into our psoas muscles. So keeping that right hand on the right thigh, let's inhale the left arm high and exhale. A little bit of side flexion. So keeping the chest nice and square to the top of the mat, just reaching over so you feel that stretch deepen through the left side of the body. Maybe you're feeling it in the lower back as well. So you really work into that psoas. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, drop the left hand onto the right knee. Reach the right arm forward. Take an inhale. And as we exhale, sweeping that right arm back, making our way into a twist. Breathe in, inhale to find length. Exhale to twist a bit more. Inhale, coming back to the front. Exhale, plant the hands either side of that right foot. And we're going to begin to straighten that right leg, coming into half split. So the left hip shoots back over the left knee. Toe can stay pointed if you're really tight. Again, if there's a bend in the knee, it's all good as long as you can feel that release at the back of that leg. You can also use blocks either side of the body if you can't get the hands onto the mat here, just for some stability. If you're going super well, flex that right ankle, draw the toes back towards you, and maybe rounding down. Again, just check for tension, soften the face, soften the shoulders. And lifting the gaze, walking the hands back towards you. If you fold it over, Let's bring the hands back onto the mat and we'll switch the feet. Maybe lift the left knee up off the mat, so coming into a runner's lunge, sending the right foot back to meet the left, and then just bringing that left foot forward, dropping the right knee down. So left knee over the left ankle now. You're finding that lazy lunge, top of the foot on the mat, or you can keep that back toe tucked under for a little bit more stability, whatever feels good for you. Chest nice and open, work those hips low, and let's come on to that left knee now. Stacking the hands, soft shoulders, and with every exhale, just allowing the exhale to move the hips a little bit deeper. Let's take that summer stretch, left hand on the left thigh, close to the hip. Inhale the right arm high, and exhale, with a side flexion, just reach it over. It doesn't need to be much, just as long as you could feel it deepen that stretch through the right hip, through the lower back. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, drop the right hand onto the left knee. Reach the left arm forward. Inhale. And exhale. Sweep that left arm back, taking a little twist. And maybe gazing back towards the left hand if it feels okay in the neck. Using that breath, inhale, find a little bit more length through your spine. Exhale, twist a bit deeper if you can. Inhale, moving back to the front, drop the hands, and let's straighten that left leg. And coming into our half splits. So the right hip moves back over the right knee. And again, we can have a bend in that knee. You can add some movement here if you wish, just rocking the hips from side to side. Maybe just working through bending and straightening the legs if you are really tight in the hamstrings. If you're going well, as always, you can flex that left ankle and round down. And just notice what all these positions do to the stretch in your body. Again, stay in control of the breath and try to stay relaxed. And coming back up. Bringing the hands back to the mat, tucking those back toes under. Lift the left knee off the mat. Let's send the right knee off the mat, sorry. Let's send the left foot back to meet the right. And let's find a high plank position. So as always, in your high plank, nice and strong through the arms. The shoulders stacked over the wrists. And press in through the upper back. Also pull the lower ribs in, pull the navel in, squeeze the glutes, pull the tailbone under. Find strength through your legs. You can take half plank if you wish by dropping the knees, but keep the work in the core. We'll hold for 5. Keep squeezing. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Set the knees down, knees together, feet together. We'll sit back on the heels and come into child's pose. And lifting the gaze. Walk the hands towards you. We're going to swing those legs around and come back to a seated position. So cross-legged position, bring the right leg in front of the left. So this is our variation for double pigeon. Again, you can be on a little blanket, a towel or a block. If you are pretty open in external rotation of the hips, you can stack the right leg on top of the left. So we're trying to stack joints. So right ankle on top of left knee on top of right ankle. If you've got a little bit of a gap, if you're like this, then I would suggest just keeping the right leg in front of the left, or you can use blocks, bolsters to bring underneath your legs just to provide a little bit of support for your body. It's just opening those glutes a little bit more. Keep the heart open, keep the chest open. And think of driving the hips back as you send the heart forward. And we're just going to hold it here. Breathe into the hips. It can be quite intense. And try to keep the ankles flexed as well. Again, so pressing through the base of that big toe. And stopping those ankles from sickling. So stopping the creases coming on the inside of those ankles if you can help it. Inhale and exhale, twist and fold towards the left knee. It's going to increase the stretch in the hip. If it's too much, just stay upright and just have a little twist here. This is all good. If you feel any pain in the knees, just back off the posture a little bit. And inhale, come back through center. Exhale, let's switch the legs. So left leg in front of the right leg now if you're going for the variation. Again, keeping those ankles flexed. So we're here, our option one. And again, we're sitting on a block if we need to, especially if you feel if you've got posterior pelvic tilt and the pelvis seems to be pulling under, then sit on a block. Otherwise, you're coming into your double pigeon or your double pigeon variation. And again, use blocks or bolsters if you need them. And keep the chest open. You can just be here, just trying to find length through your spine. Shoulders away from the ears, heart moves forward, and the hips pull back. For most people, that's going to be enough. You're going to feel this working in the outer left hip. If you want a little bit more, start to move forward. But if you lose the work in the hip, then come back up. Always be honest with yourself. Remember, it's not a competition with how deep we can go. We're just trying to feel the work in the body. Inhale. Exhale, twist and fold towards the right knee now. It doesn't need to be too much, just so you can feel a little bit more deepening in that left hip. If it's too much, back off. If it's making you tense your jaw up, it's making you shut your eyes and squeeze your face up, then it's too much. Just back off. Be here. We'll stay a couple more breaths. And inhale, coming back up. Exhale, release. Making our way down. In fact, let's do a Navasana. Let's do a Navasana before we make our way down to a lie down position. So let's get the chest nice and open, the feet, the knees together, hands underneath the thighs. Your option one, just lift the feet off the mat. This is going to build our core strength, our lower back strength, and also our leg strength as well. And we can be here, our option one. Our option two, release the legs completely. Send the hands forward, palms facing each other. Your option three, as always, is to bring those lower legs parallel with the mat. And your final option is to find your full version of Navasana. And let's hold for 5, 4, just make sure that we're not rounding into the back here. Send the heart forward. For 3, for 2, strengthening hip flexors, strengthening quadriceps. And 1, exhale, release. Bring the feet to the mat. Take the hands forward. And we're going to slowly flex through the spine as we come to lie down, as controlled as we can. Keep the navel in as you come down, just to support the lower back. We'll send the legs straight. Take the arms overhead. We'll take a full body stretch. Stretching the shoulders, stretching through the spine, through the legs. And just bringing the hands either side of the body now. Palms facing up. We'll take the heels as wide as the mat. Make the feet fall out to the side. Just checking the shoulder blades are under the back again. Chest is open. Tuck the chin slightly so the back of the neck is long. Close the eyes. Release your Ujjayi breath now and just allow the breath to return to the subconscious. Maybe give the jaw a wiggle just to check there's no tension through your face. If you're feeling any pinching in your lower back in this posture, tuck your tailbone under slightly. That can help relieve a little bit of pressure from the lower back, especially if you have a little bit of anterior pelvic tilt. If it's still too much in the lower back, nice way to take your Shavasana is always to bring the feet as wide as the mat and allow the knees to knock together. So just making yourself comfortable. Now when you are comfortable, just try to find complete stillness. And again, just feeling the weight of your body pressing into the earth. Just feeling completely supported by your mat. Just allow the skin to melt over the bones. And just keeping your focus on your natural breath. Notice the subtle movements in the body from the breath. Notice the wind in the nostrils, in the back of the throat. And as you're lying here for a little while longer, a reminder to be gentle with your body. The first rule of yoga is ahimsa, is kindness, non-violence towards yourself first and foremost, so that we can become kind towards others. So never pushing too far, but also not being lazy. You're just finding that sweet spot between effort and relaxation in our yoga practice and in our daily lives. Accepting where we are right now in the present moment. Accepting our weaknesses along with our strengths. Your option is always to stay in your Shavasana now as long as you feel you need. Otherwise, we're going to take a nice deep inhale. Exhale the breath, completely connect the navel towards the spine. Inhale the breath into your heart space. And exhale the breath into the fingertips, the toes, and start to wiggle the fingers and toes as you bring movement back to your body. Rotate your wrists and your ankles. Start to move your limbs as you bring life back to your being. And bring your feet, your legs together. Take your arms overhead for a full body stretch. Full extension through your spine again. And draw your knees to your chest. Give yourself a squeeze, a cuddle. And just take a moment to show total gratitude with where you are now. For all you've been given. For what your body can already do. And thanking yourself for showing up on your mat this morning. Let's rock from side to side and rock to our right hand side when we're ready. Blinking the eyes open and joining me again in a comfortable seated cross-legged position. Sitting nice and tall when we're there. We'll bring our hands into Anjali Mudra. And to seal and finish the practice with the sound of the universe on. Let's take an inhale. Exhale. Inhale for Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hare Om. Raise your hands to your head for kindness in your thoughts, to yourself and to others, to your heart for kindness in your actions, and to your lips for kindness in your words. From my heart to your heart, always. Namaste. Thank you for joining me, for practicing with me this morning. This windy, it's very breezy morning. I hope you all feel a little bit more open in your body, more space, and hope you now float through your Sunday with a little bit more ease and a little bit of calmness in your mind as well. I see some comments coming up. Oh, wonderful, Kerry. Wonderful post-run stretch. Thank you, Kerry. And thanks, Sam, for joining me as well. Thank you always for joining me. I will be back with you, as always, tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock for Vinyasa Flow. And then every evening throughout the week, 7 o'clock for different styles of yoga that we do. I hope you're all well. I hope you're all making the most of this lockdown, appreciating your freedom when you're allowed to have it. And I look forward to what Boris is going to say this afternoon because I want to get back to work. Thank you as always, for your support. I'm so grateful for those of you that have donated to me to help me through these crazy times. So I am totally indebted to you. Thank you so much. And yeah, stay safe, enjoy, do what you can out there, and yeah, I'll see you tomorrow virtually, all being well. Namaste, namaste, namaste. Love to you all. Thank you, guys.